You too. We back. We got NBA YoungBoy.
The state of Utah versus Kentrell Galvin. How are you today, Mr. Williams?
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you.
Mr. Galvin also has counsel online. If you would please state your names for the record.
Now my boy looking crazy.
Jeremy D'Alessino appearing for Mr. Galden as well.
Your Honor, Drew Finley, appearing remotely as well. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Williams, I understand that perhaps there's going to be a change of plea today. Is that correct?
That is, Your Honor.
All right. Would you go ahead and please state for the record what the plea agreement is that has been reached with the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hey, if y'all ever find yourself in the courtroom and you fighting the case, or you just so happen to be in that predicament, hold your head up. Don't be like this right here. Don't be like that. In there with your head down. I know he looking crazy right now, but still, never be in the courtroom with your head down. If you know, you know.
My client will be entering guilty pleas to counts 2 through 7, count 13, count 16, count 19, and count 22. And there are other parameters to this agreement. Would you like me to put those on the record now?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, it's anticipated that he will enter those pleas as charged. In other words, identity fraud as a third-degree felony with 2 counts, forgery as a third-degree felony, 2 counts, 6 counts of pharmacy fraud, which would be those count 4.
And that's a Class A misdemeanor.
And those are all Class A misdemeanors. There are
Real talk, I can see why he in there with his head down. He embarrassed.
6 of those, and all of those cases, the counts I just recited are the ends are all pharmacy fraud cases. We are asking the court to waive time for sentencing. I have some specific requests as it relates to sentencing about the language, but the agreement is that my client will pay a $25,000 fine to the court. And Your Honor, I have a cashier's check in hand. I'm holding it now that I would like to publish to the court at the end of this. Upon payment of that, the state has agreed to a 402 reduction for each of those 4 felony counts. They would all be reduced to Class A misdemeanors, and the case would close at that point in time.
With credit for time served?
No credit for time served, and that has to do with his pending federal
That boy got that bread. They said he was smiling in there.
sentencing and an anticipated sentence within the Bureau of Prisons. So what we're asking is for the court to give no credit for any time served and to simply close the case.
Okay, sidebar.
But he's going to do a sentence of incarceration of 27 months in the Bureau of Prisons would be a reasonable sentence. And we're awaiting sentencing on that currently. But the position here is that that is a significant sentence. Candidly, it could be that if he were sent to the Utah State Prison on this, the board may release him far sooner than that. But he's going to do this 27 months within federal custody, which is why we're asking the court to follow this recommendation and this plea agreement that we've reached of just closing the case now. Then he can go and remain in federal custody and go do that time when that sentence is handed down.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
I just got one question, y'all. How would y'all feel being YoungBoy right now? If you was Kentrell right now, how would you feel?
Mr. D'Alessino, and I just wanted to make sure that was
Subject to probation searches that would involve ensuring that he is not possessing or using any dangerous weapons, such as firearms. Likewise, no illegal drugs or alcohol, things of that nature.
That's correct, Your Honor. And federal probation is a sort of unique animal in the sense that it's akin to probationary terms in state, which is to say that they could impose the entire sentence that it was initially available to impose.
There have been multiple jurisdictions involved, both multiple jurisdictions in the federal and in the state systems.
Y'all think they scared of? I think they scared of them just a little bit.
Representatives for the government in each of those cases as well, to ensure that a proper disposition is reached globally across these cases.
Now we finna get to the plea.
That gave rise to the federal case. So same conduct. There's been a plea entered in federal court. The state dismissed their charge.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Mr. Golden, have you had enough time to speak to your attorneys about this decision to enter into this plea bargain?
Yes.
Have they gone over with you the rights that you would be waiving by accepting this plea bargain and entering no contest pleas and being sentenced today and having this case closed?
Yes.
Do you understand that a no contest plea has the same effect as a guilty plea in a lot of ways? The court will sentence someone on a no contest plea the same as it would a guilty plea, although you would still be maintaining your innocence. You would acknowledge that the government has sufficient evidence to meet each and every element of the charges that you would be pleading no contest to.
Yes.
Mr. Golden, are you under the influence of any drug?
Hey man, say that boy in there like this. Yes. Yes. Hey boy in there.
Drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Are you on any medications right now?
No.
No.
Are you thinking clearly today and understanding everything that's happening in court?
Yes.
Has anybody forced you or coerced you to get
It's yes sir and no sir. What?
you to accept this plea bargain?
No.
Are you pleading no contest today because you believe that the government does have sufficient evidence to be able to prove each of these each of the 10 charges that you would be entering a no contest plea to today beyond a reasonable doubt?
No.
Are you acknowledging that even though you're maintaining your innocence, that the government would still be able to prove these charges in court potentially, and so you believe it's in your best interest to accept a plea bargain?
No.
In order for me to accept your no contest plea, I just need to better understand and make sure that you are acknowledging that the global resolution of these cases is in your best interest, and that there is some basis for you to be accepting the plea bargain. There is some evidence that you believe would justify you accepting the plea bargain. Are you able to acknowledge that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Has he been able to sign that statement of defendant supporting his no contest plea?
Your Honor, I did not know the court's policy. I'm going to have him sign this before Your Honor.
Very good.
And shortly thereafter, someone contacted law enforcement pretending to be an elderly woman as fraud.
A third-degree felony, 2 separate counts.
Of authenticating the writing or the prescription in each instance, which purports to be the act of that Dr. James Lukmancy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keller. That is a sufficient factual basis to support each of these 10 charges. Mr. Golden, to the charge of identity fraud, a third-degree felony, 2 separate counts, how do you plead to both of those charges? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
To the charge of forgery, a third-degree felony, 2 separate counts, both of those being third-degree felonies, how do you plead to those 2 charges?
No contest.
To the charge of pharmacy fraud, a Class A misdemeanor, 6 separate counts, how do you plead to each 6 of those charges?
No contest.
The court finds that you have knowingly and voluntarily entered your no contest pleas I've signed the statement of defendant and will now enter that into the record. You have the right to be sentenced in not less than 2 days and not more than 45 days. It's my understanding that you would like to waive time for sentencing and be sentenced today. Is that correct, Mr. Galden?
Yes.
Okay. Stipulation between the state of Utah and Mr. Galden, the court will reduce his 4 felony counts on the identity fraud and the forgery down 1 step to Class A misdemeanors pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-402. And your case will close between federal prosecutors and state prosecutors, whereby you will be serving a substantial amount of time in federal prison, apparently 27 months, and after which 60 months of supervised probation, where you'll be monitored to make sure that you're doing well in your active recovery and that you are staying out of trouble and not having any dangerous weapons, including firearms, in your possession. Mr. Galden, I've seen so many times that good men and women who have a lot of talent and potential, that they can be robbed of that potential when they start to really struggle with their addiction. So I don't want that for you. You seem like a very talented young man. I'm hoping in your future that once you're done with your federal prison time, that you can be really successful on federal probation and have a really bright future where you can reach your full potential in every aspect of your life. Best of luck to you, Mr. Galden.
Thank you.
Talk to him.
Anything
Thank you, Your
further?
Honor. That's all I have.
27 months. Nothing crazy. He got some of the charges reduced. You know, he was able to get away from some of it, just a little bit. He's going to have to do federal probation afterwards. My advice to YoungBoy: do right, stay out of trouble, bro. Keep your head down. Keep your head up, really. Keep your head up. Do what you got to do. Handle your business, man. Your kids depending on you. You got family depending on you. Hold it down. Stay solid. I think he gonna be better, y'all. I think he gonna shake back after this. Man, I hope for the best for him. Till next time.